This movie is about pictures. We're going to begin by talking about the different ways to insert a picture into the worksheet. We'll cover the basics, which is to move, resize, rotate, and delete the pictures. We'll go over a few things that you can actually do with the pictures in your workbook. We'll look at the Format Picture Tools tab in the Adjusting group, where, among other things, we can remove the background of the picture. We'll look at the preset styles and pull up the selection pane where we can toggle the visibility of all of the pictures or individual pictures. We'll look at resizing and cropping the picture, and then we'll look at the granular control we have over the formatting with the shortcut menu. So I've got a blank worksheet, and we're going to look at inserting some pictures, some images. And there's a few ways to go about doing this, depending upon where the picture is to start with. If the picture's on your hard drive, you can select Insert, Picture from the Illustrations group, select a picture and left-click Insert, or just double-click the picture. I'm going to Control Z and undo that. Another way you can introduce a picture, and I'm in Word now, is I'm going to insert a picture into Word the same way I did it in Excel. But let's say I want to get this picture into my spreadsheet. Probably the easiest way to do it is to pull up the clipboard, select the picture, and it already is selected, Control C to add it to the clipboard, go back to Excel, launch the clipboard, select the photograph, the picture of the football, and I've entered it onto my worksheet. Another way to enter an image into your workbook, and this can be very useful, among other things, to document processes, and that's to go to the Insert tab and left-click Screenshot. And I get a preview of the desktop image that's displayed behind the Excel image that's overlaid on top of it currently. When I left-click that, I get the entire desktop, which is our picture of the football from the Word program. I'm going to delete that because the other option I have, going back to the Insert tab, is to take a screen clipping and only select part of this if I don't want the entire thing. So once we've inserted a picture into our workbook, we can do with it the same thing that we can any other object, and that is to select it, grab it and move it, resize it using the sizing handles. That's a bit big. I can rotate it using the rotation handle, and I can copy it, Control C, Control V, hold down the Control key, grab the picture and drag over, release to create a copy. And of course I can delete it too. When it's selected, press delete, delete, delete. So where can we put an image? We can put an image in a lot of places. We can put it in a shape, for instance. I'm going to go to the Insert tab, the Illustrations group, and input a shape. And in the Shape Styles, Shape Fill, I have the option to select Picture, and I'll select my koala again. And the neat thing about this is the picture is automatically cropped to equal the size of the shape. I can also add pictures or images to SmartArt, and that can be useful if you're trying to display an organization chart. Left-clicking the image holder, we have the koala, the penguins, and the jellyfish who work for the penguins. You can use an image to create a background in a page layout group, selecting the koala once again. And I get a picture of the koala as a background that covers the entire worksheet. The interesting thing about this is I can zoom in and out of the worksheet, and the size of the picture doesn't change. I'm going to remove the background. And we can also insert an image into a header or footer in our document. Choose Picture, choose the koala. Now in this case, the picture is too big to fit in the header, but you can use a smaller image like a logo to put in the header or a footer of a document. So I'm going to insert a picture, an image, and this time I'm going to use the picture of the penguins and move that a little bit. And we're going to go through the Picture Tools or the Format tab, beginning with Remove Background. Excel does its best to estimate where the background is and where the foreground image is. In this case, it came close, but we have the neck of the first penguin that's going to be eliminated if I accept the changes. So I'm going to left-click Mark Areas to Keep. I want to keep that area. And you, of course, can refine this a bit more. I can mark areas to remove, and I can delete the mark that I've added to the picture. So once I'm happy with all of the changes, I can either left-click to keep changes, or I can left-click off of the picture, and Excel has removed the background pretty effectively on this image. Left-clicking and selecting the image again, we also have a lot of other options that we get a preview of as we hover over these. We can sharpen or soften the image. We can increase or decrease the brightness and contrast. And with each one of these selections, we get a preview. I'm going to select that one. We can also change the color. And again, these are all presets. We're going to get a preview. We can have some green penguins, blue penguins. We have the option to select more variations with theme colors. If we've themed our workbook, we might want to select one of these colors. And we have a drop-down with artistic effects that will drastically change the way the picture appears, pixelate it, cube it, and so on. The other options in this group is to compress the pictures. And I left-click that, I get some compression options. This will make the picture smaller so it won't bulk up the spreadsheet so much in terms of its size. We also have a lot of picture styles that we can select and choose from, where we'll change the border, we'll change the softness of the edges. There's some 3D dimensional effects, and we get a preview with each one of these things. I'm not going to select any of them for the time being because I want to show you that you can choose a border style and independently select a border. I can change the style of the edging as well. I have a lot of picture effects, and if you've seen the movies on Shapes, Word Art, and Smart Art, all of these selection options will look familiar to you. These presets are basically 3D and bevel presets, and again, it's nice to get that preview so we know what we're in for before we select it. We have shadow effects. We have reflections, which you can't see because the picture extends down to the bottom of the frame of the worksheet. We can have the edges glow. We can soften the edges, add a bevel, and give some depth to the picture. And there's the 3D effects as well. The selection pane is the only command button I'm going to talk about in the Arrange group, because we're going to cover all of these selection options in another movie. They affect so many different objects. But with images, we have the ability to hide all or show all, or we can left-click this little eyeball, and if we had numerous images, we can cherry-pick the ones we want to display and the ones we don't want to display. I'm going to close the selection pane and go back to the picture tools. Lastly, we can crop the picture as well as resize the picture. When we choose crop, we get some cropping handles. And when you hover near one and select it by left-clicking the mouse button, I can crop the picture sort of in a freehand sort of way, or I can press the Control key and crop all four sides at the same time in sort of a controlled kind of way. And the same thing is true with any one of the sides. I can lower the height of the picture here. I can press the Control key and compress the picture in 2 dimensions at the same time. And the same thing is true with the sides. Again, I'm holding the Control key down. I can crop the picture to fit within a shape, and I get sizing handles, just like I have with the picture. I can rotate it. And finally, as far as cropping goes, I can change the aspect ratio if I'm happy with the dimensions, or if I'm trying to fit this picture scale-wise within a certain theme around other images or objects that may be scaled similarly. And the spin buttons allow me to change the size of the image, increase the height, decrease the height, same thing with the width, and I can actually just input a value there directly by typing it in. When you crop a picture, you have the option to eliminate the cropped portion from the picture permanently. The penguin to the left and right are still part of the image, but we can go backstage, Alt-F-T, to the advanced options and check this box, discard editing data, and with that box checked, when we crop the picture, we'll actually lose the content that we are cropping out of the picture. So I've got my unadulterated picture back of the penguins. I'm going to left click it, select it, right click to get the shortcut menu, and left click Format Picture, and I get some granular control over all of the options that created the presets on the Pictures tool Format tab. And while in this dialog box, I still have access to, in many cases, the presets that we saw in the Format tab. So that's pictures or images. We talked about several ways to introduce or insert an image into the workbook. We moved, resized, rotated, and deleted an image. We went through a short list of what we could do with the image once we introduced it into the workbook. We adjusted the image, including removing the background. We took a look at a lot of the options that we have to adjust sharpness, contrast, color. We could add some artistic effects. We looked at compressing the picture and resetting the picture back to its original state. We also looked at the styles, the 28 style presets. We looked at adjusting the border on the picture and some picture effects. We covered resizing and cropping the picture. And we pulled up the shortcut menu where we have some granular control over all of the option settings so that we can go beyond just the presets that are available in the Picture Tools Format tab.